All right, so topping off your study of the Latin verb conjugations, we've learned about the fourth conjugation, the IRE verbs in Latin, and how to conjugate them in all the forms that you've learned so far for the first through third. And also you've done the EO verbs of the third conjugation. So a couple new ones to look out there, but also remember the unus nata, everything you've learned so far. So don't just be in the mindset of chapter 10. You know, everything is cumulative in Latin. You never drop things. Everything can always show back up. That's the fun part about it, right? You can always be surprised from what you've seen in the past. So starting with number 5 from the exercises, you learned about demonstrative pronouns last chapter. So this word should be pretty easy to translate. It means to show. I've got the vocab down there anyway for you, but it means to show, from demonstro. Underlining your nouns. Four of them in a sentence. Your pronouns. Prepositional phrase. And then everything else. I'll go ahead and label this, since it's not as obvious what that is. But it's from unus nata. That's the unus. Knocking out the verb here, demonstrabimus. Demonstro, demonstrare, so we're in first conjugation. So if you pull up your verb chart, we've dropped an RE, and we've added a bimus. So we're down in the very bottom left. And guess what? That is a future tense. That is first person, plural, future tense. So we will show. We will show. So we know the subject is going to be some we, right? We don't seem to have a nos in the sentence, so we might have to imply the subject, right? We might have to imply we into the translation. We can, from just knocking out things, unius should be pretty straightforward, right? You know, for unus natia, it's ius for a genitive singular. Boom. Done. Starting at the beginning now, we have ex libris. Ex is a preposition which takes the ablative. So looking for its object, well, libris comes from librum, libri, I believe, meaning book. Let me check that for you. Sorry, liber, libri, book. But still, second declension, masculine. So libris could be either plural dative or plural ablative, right? Either one. We're right next to a preposition which takes the ablative. So we're going to assign this as ablative plural. But keep in mind, it could be dative if there's something really weird going on in the sentence, but likely it's ablative plural. Moving on, we have weary. So weary, it comes from weir. Weary. Second declension masculine means man, a man. So weary could either be genitive singular or it can be nominative plural. But, however, we know that the subject of the sentence is we, as in us. So we're not looking for a nominative plural, right? We know that it has to be we. So the only logical choice here is another genitive singular. And guess what? There's your noun adjective agreement. They look nothing like an ending, right? Eus versus an I, but they agree, since they agree in gender, number, and unius takes any, right? That's the same for all genders, so we're close enough. So we agree there. Naturum comes from natura, I, first declension. Am, easy enough, accusative, singular, feminine. Lastly, we have harum insidiarum. Should be pretty straightforward to see what pronoun this is. This is going on to insidiarum, right, as a pronoun, demonstratively. Right, harum comes from hikakok. I can throw that up for you real quick. That comes from hikakok, which is this chart. Bottom right there, you'll see that harum is the plural feminine. Plural feminine genitive. Right, yeah, plural feminine genitive. Insidiarum comes from insidia, insidii, first declension. So guess what? Not a surprise. that is also plural. Feminine. Genitive. Sorry for writing the gender number case out of order there, but anyway, so we've done pretty much all the sentence, right? We know the subject is we know the object is naturum, and everything else is just describing the sentence in some way. So let's start with we in translating. We, what are we doing? We will show, point out, demonstrate. We will show what? The nature, the naturarum. I think having a the is good here. Whose nature? Well, it's a little bit nuanced here. So typically, when we describe genitives, they come after, right? So the whatever noun and then the genitives that are possessive there. So the naturum, harum, and studiarum. So these two, which are linked. The nature of these treacheries, of these plots, of these ambushes, trickeries. But the important thing is these from the demonstrative pronoun. These ones specifically. These treacheries, these insidiarum. And how are we doing this? Well, this is kind of the extraneous information, right? Ex libris unius viri. Ex libris is out of or from, or by, in this case might be better, but from, right? This is how they're doing it. From the books, the diaries, or whatever you want to call it. Whose books? Unius viri's books, right? The possessive there, the man's. And not just a man, but one man in particular. So, there you go. Even though, right, ex libris unius viri is the first 4 words, they were the last couple in our translation. Or you could say, from the books of one man, we will show the nature of these treacheries. That would work too, if you wanted to be more word order adjacent there. So, on to the next one that I've picked out here, number 6. We have a semicolon here, so we'll start with just the first part. Amant being our obvious verb. Nimis is an adverb, which I think I've given to you. It might be in your book as an adverb. Victorium. Soli is an adjective from your unus nata. It's the S part. Solus a Isti is a pronoun, right? We learned that one last chapter. So doing these, amant comes from amare. This is very straightforward. This is the couple first chapters right here. Present, third person plural, right? They love. The question here is who is they? So we have to go back. Victorium is our only noun, so let's see if that's they. It's Victoria, I, first declension. Guess what? We know that already. Not nominative. Accusative singular feminine. So that's not our subject. So what do we have left? We have isti. Well, that's a pronoun, so that could be our subject, and I think that's the logical choice. I do actually have a isti chart from Wikipedia here, Wiktionary here. So if you look for isti, ist with an I, there's only one. Well, there's 2 options, actually. My bad. There's dative singular or nominative plural. Right. Well, we know that it's at the start of the sentence, and we know that we're looking for a plural subject. So it's a good guess that this is going to be nominative plural. But if we end up having an issue, that's fine. We can always go back. We know that we're aware. Soli is similar. It's actually exactly the same. Because it's in unus nata, it is either dative singular, right? The unus nata is the dative singular, ends in an I, or a nominative plural. So yes, you can have pronouns being modified by adjectives. If you were scared to do that before, here's your example. So, who is our subject? It's isti, those guys, those people specifically. those people, those ones, right? Solely or soul. I'll put it as solely, but it is technically an adjective here, right? Like those guys single-handedly. Or as one. What are they doing? They love present. Love what? They love victory. And nemus is our adverb. Too much. They love it too much. Exceedingly. Semicolon. Other half of the sentence. Cody taught. So we're not ending in an NT, we're just a T. Cody tare. So again, straightforward, present, singular, third person. So we switch now, new subject. De pate, pretty easy to pick out. Preposition plus its object. So pate comes from pots, patis, pats, potis, piece, third declension. So pate, the long E macron there, will get you that it is ablative singular. Which works, right? De takes ablative. Feminine. Okay. So coditat means to think, and typically we think about something, so we can already kind of piece together, thinking about peace. So who's our subject? Well, we have a substantive unus nata adjective here, don't we? We saw this in the last chapter, exactly. Neuter, neither, no one, neither. What are they doing? They think, or thinks. About peace, about harmony. Straightforward. Okay. Keeping on with the unus nata theme. So for number 11 from the exercises here. Right. Little verb chart for you. Starting with a verb. Wrong color. Starting with a verb in Winnebat. We have found that one, but invent comes from this. To come upon, to discover, to find, to invent. Huius comes from Hittite. So it is a pronoun. Morbi is a noun. Ricus is a noun. Remedium is a noun. No shortage of nouns and pronouns in this sentence. Alter is an adjective. We should remember that from the unus nata chapter. We should also remember that alter is the nominative singular form. Masculine. I'll go ahead and write that down. In Winnebat, however, for the verb, I'm just going to recircle this because it'll bother me. In Winnebat, the bot we should be very familiar with by now, automatically imperfect, right? Imperfect. Bot, third person. No NT, singular. Done. No thinking about the conjugation necessary. So he, she, it was discovering, was finding. Who's our he, she, it? Well, we have this nominative singular, and guess what? It's the Ricus, that Greek dude, that Greek person. Another nominative singular masculine. Boom. Noun adjective agreement right there. Okay. Remedium comes from remedium. Remedii, second declension. Second declension. Neuter, using the parentheses endings. However, so we could have remedium, nominative singular, or we could have remedium, accusative singular. We already know our subject, so there's only one real choice here. Accusative singular neuter. Boom. There's our direct object of the sentence. So we already know the other Greek, another Greek, was discovering a remedium, and now we just have huius morbi. We'll do morbi now. So I've given you, it's morbus morbi, second declension. It means a disease or an illness. So morbi, to be nominative plural, nope. We know we're a singular subject, so only one option here. Genitive singular. Okay, so lastly, we have this pronoun here, troublesome pronoun. It comes from hitchhike. And from memorization is hitchhike, whois for all genders. So we already know that this is a genitive singular. What gender it is doesn't really matter here. What do we have? Well, these are two genitive singulars together, so we link those. So translating, the other Greek or another Greek, however you want to say it. Another Greek person, I'll just say Greek, as in a person who is Greek, was imperfect, discovering, finding a remedium, a cure, a remedy. Let's say cure, I think that applies well in the sentence. A cure what? Genitive, we say of, right? Of the disease, but not of the disease, of this specific disease. The one that we're talking about, probably in the context of the conversation. Okay. That's 11. So 12. So probably a couple of nouns that you're not familiar with in this sentence, but no worries. Vocab in the book and vocab that I provided. The verbs, however, should not be that hard to pick out. We have assumed here, form assume. And that's it. Yep. A lot of conjunctions and adverbs. So let's break this down. Noun, noun, pronoun, noun, noun, noun. Give that one a straight line. I'm just breaking these down for you. Said is a conjunction, it means but. Etiam is an adverb. Solum should be familiar from your unus nata from last chapter. So, starting with our verb, well, our verb here is just sunt, right? Form assume, easy, present, plural, third person. Okay. Now, looking towards our noun, starting from the beginning. Oh, looks like I deleted some of scriptores here. Carmina. Carmina means it comes from Carmen, Carminus. It means a song, actually. That, pulling up our declension chart, our song or our prayer. Yeah, pulling up our declension chart, we can see that this is a third declension noun, Carmen. It's that hyphen, right, in the third declension singular. Carminis shows us that it's the genitive, so we are third declension. And we have Carmina, and we know from the dictionary there, or my vocab, that it is neuter. So we're using these parentheses. So Carmina could either be accusative plural or nominative plural. But it's plural nonetheless. However, we're at the start of the sentence. We don't have a transitive verb, right? A verb that acts onto a direct object, really. We have sunt here, a linking verb. So there's no real accusatives in the sentence, likely. Unless we have some sort of preposition going on. So we're going to take that as a nominative. Plus, it's at the start of the sentence. So, moving on, we have scriptores. Scriptor is the, might have that down for you there. Maybe. It might be in your book, but we've seen this noun before at least. Scriptor being a third declension noun as well. Scriptoris is its genitive form. Nothing too hard here, right? We're already told it's genitive form. Genitive singular. Alias will have to refer to the pronoun chart. Yep, I've got that one up for you. So we're up in the top left under allay, ala, allude. Alias, alias, alias. So we know that we're some, regardless of gender, we're some form of genitive singular. Done, right? Easy. So let's go ahead and translate these first 4 words, just to break it down. So the songs, or we're not really songs in this case, because if you look at scriptoris, that is a writer, right? So that other, I said it's a song, a prayer, or a poem. So I think poem is probably where we're going here. Not just the poem, but the poems. Genitive, we say, is possessive, right? Of. Alias is that, not this. And just one writer, right? Singular. Poet would work too. And what are they? They just are, right? It's a linking verb. They just are. So what are they? Well, we have planum, non solum, veritatis. So now let's go into the second half here. Plana, from planus usa adjective. We know that we're looking for a nominative form here. Carmina is neuter, so we need a nominative neuter, plural. Well, nominative neuter, plural, from the first, second declension, get you what? Get you an A ending. So this A here. Yep. I'm not, actually, I might have written that down. Let me check out something here. Kind of thinking that does not have a macron on it. It does not have a macron on it. Yep. My bad. Which is right? We didn't want a macron on it, or else I would have made an ablative singular. So this is nominative, plural, neuter. What's nominative, plural, neuter? Our subject. So these poems of that writer are plena, plentiful, full. Or full, I think full of might be better. Full. Okay. They are full. What are they full of? So now we go to veritatis. Well, should I have given you that in the vocab? This is my question. No. So solum is actually not an adjective here. It's my error. Adverb. Can be an adverb too. It means only or solely, alone. So like I said, it's only, so not only. And veritatis, we know it's veritas, veritatis. Boom, genitive singular. It's feminine. Not are full, not only of truth. Singular, truth. Said, I told you, was but. Etienne to mean even or also. I think also is a better use here. Virtutis comes from virtus, virtutis, another, just genitive singular. Of virtue. So they're both truthful and virtuous. And that is chapter 10 exercises.